what I wanted to show people is what we already showed our family and our neighbors. We want people, when they come into the marble table, to sit down and they're at our table and this is our home. And when you gather around the table, it's a different type of feeling.
The following is a Big Sky Economic Development production.
It's Mars B.
And Kavo.
And this is The Vault at 201 North Broadway.
A business podcast.
Where we bring you entrepreneurs, small business owners, and community leaders of Montana.
To share their stories, expertise, industry insights, and strategies.
And we are sharing them all with you every single week.
You don't want to miss this.
Learn how to better start, manage, and grow your business.
And your leadership style.
Tangible takeaways to save you time and improve whatever it is that you're working on.
You're listening to The Vault.
Thank you to Big Sky Economic Development for supporting The Vault at 201 North Broadway. Big Sky Economic Development provides leadership and resources for business creation, expansion, retention, new business recruitment, community development, and workforce development. Learn more at bigsky.economicdevelopment.org.
Today, joining us on The Vault is Jason and Jen Marble. Thank you for coming on. We're delighted to have you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Thanks.
We're really excited to talk to you today and learn more about the Marble Table in downtown Billings. You guys have some other really exciting things happening, so we're excited to just dive into your story and learn more about how you got to where you are today.
So I think that jumps back to your sweet story of how you met.
Oh, that's all you.
All right. So we actually met in high school. I think I knew who he was in junior high.
In Billings?
In Billings, yep.
Okay,
Yeah, we
okay.
went to Lewis and Clark. I'm 1 year older. He played trumpet in band, and I played the alto saxophone. And so he was called up to, when I was a freshman, to play The Lion Sleeps Tonight at senior high. He was a really good trumpet player. And so I knew who he was, but he was such a jokester. I really was like, God, he's so immature.
That's how every love story starts.
You know.
Well, I was a teenage boy.
So we really technically started, we really met when we were 15 and I was 16. I needed a ride home from school. And throughout the year of school, I've always saw this beautiful blue 72 Chevy stepside, fantastic condition. And I love old cars. Mm-hmm. So I'm all about old cars. And I always saw it in the parking lot, but I knew it was a teacher's because I always parked in the teacher's parking lot. Mm-hmm. So I needed a ride home one day. I got kind of left at school, no. Had my saxophone, lived on 17th and Pauley. That's a long hill. That's a big from senior high, right? And so I was kind of waiting to see if my mom was coming to pick me up. And he came out of the band room. He's like, do you need a ride? And I was like, yeah, I kind of do. And he's like, well, I can give you a ride home. I'm like, you don't even know where I live. He's like, that's okay. He's like, yeah. And I was like, cool. He's like, well, I park back here. And I'm like, where the teachers are? He's like, yeah. And we're walking towards him. I was like, oh my gosh, that blue truck is so amazing. And he's like, yeah, you want to see inside? And I was like, what? And he's like, that's so my truck.
Wait, but why were you parked in the teacher's lot?
Because the teachers appreciated what I had and let me park there where it wouldn't get doored.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was so beautiful. And so that's really...
We need a picture of this.
Oh.
There's only one in existence.
There is.
Oh, wow.
And it's not digital. It's, an old school, back in the day picture. Because there was no cell phones.
And you don't have it anymore, or do you?
No.
No, it got stolen and chopped up when I was
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Was I a junior? And you would have been a sophomore?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. So crazy thing, for that is he lived on 24th and Pauley.
Oh, okay.
At the Billings Nursery with his family's business. And I lived on 17th and Pauley. And so I didn't even notice where the truck would go. I wasn't tracking the truck. Well, maybe a little, but when I saw it, it was pretty cool. So we always joke that that's how it all started. Was I fell in love with this truck first,
and then him,
and then him, of course. But yeah, he was always super funny, and he always made me laugh. And
so you had a magical car ride home.
We did. I think that was the very first day that we ever hung out, and then we hung out every day after that for all of your 4 years of high school.
Pretty much.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then when he went to Western Culinary out in Portland, I moved out to Portland with him. We got engaged out there. and I broke off our engagement and we went our separate ways for a lot of years. And is it 11 years now? I gotta really think hard. I don't know. Yeah, we're close. Let's say around 11 years.
Something like that. 11 sounds great.
Yeah, we got back together. And we've been married for 9 years right now.
So did you get back together in Billings? I'm just going to ask since we're talking about this.
So I
Billings.
I went to Minnesota. He stayed in Portland, came back and worked for his family with the nursery for the whole time.
There's so many questions about that, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. I moved to Minnesota and we both got married the same year, only a couple months apart. He got married in May of 2004. I got married in July of 2004. Our kids are 1 year apart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. His oldest is currently 19. My oldest is 18. His, I guess, youngest would be 17 and my youngest is 12.
Wow.
So 2 boys, 2 girls. Our girls always wanted sisters because they have an older brother or a younger brother. And so it kind of worked out. Yeah. We're a pretty cool blended family. It's taken a lot of time. It's a lot of hard work. We had triple F nights. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Nope.
Yeah. Forced family fun.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we call it. It could just be about anything really, but that's what it was for us. But it's funny now that the kids are older and, my oldest is going off to college. So for me, it's neat to see how they're kind of come back around and they're like, hey, I remember those nights that we had pizza and movie nights. It was so cool. Or can we do that again? Yeah, absolutely. And before it was like, come on.
Why are you making me do this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our long, short story in a nutshell. But
So what brought you both back to Billings? So you came to
for
work
the
in
nursery.
family business.
Yeah.
Yeah, ish.
Yeah. I mean, I worked in the restaurant world for a while, pulling double duty at the nursery and working at restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
And then went back full time to the nursery for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
So you obviously had a love for food because you went to culinary school.
Correct.
And then you came back, started working. Was it just like the family needed you back in the nursery, or that was just a natural transition for you?
his grandpa started the nursery, so it was in the family. It's now all
business.
sold.
Yeah, it was third generation. It was a combination of they needed help and I was kind of burnt out. I was a baker and then I'd go work in a restaurant at night. So I was kind of always at work.
Yeah.
Slept for a couple hours a night. Got burnt out.
I get you. I was a baker as well. It was very long hours.
Yeah.
Very early hours.
4:00 in the morning until closing the kitchen down at midnight. It was long days.
Yeah.
Can't get to sleep till 2 a.m. and whoops, you got to get back up.
Just got to go. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then what brought you back from Minnesota?
Well, this has always been home.
Yeah,
for me,
'cause you grew up here.
Yeah, I moved here when
Yeah.
I was 8 years old from Minnesota, and so.
Oh, so you're okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I went elementary. I was actually at Rimrock Elementary when it was an elementary school. But yeah, I just always felt like this was always home.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt more myself here.
Yeah.
And getting out of a not so good relationship, this was always home. And so
Yeah.
I really felt like coming back here was the best move for me and my kids. Logan was 1 at the time, and so Briella was in 1st grade.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a lot of like healing here, I think, for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why.
And having family close by.
Yeah. Yeah. And before I moved back here, we actually started talking, and he's known me my whole life. And I really feel like that's what really helped me get back to myself and find my heart again was, the fact that we were best friends and we want to be around each other. I know some people laugh all the time. They're like, you work with your wife at the marble table like every day.
And you're like,
And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, he is usually.
Yes, I am that animated.
He's never that animated. This is probably his happy face, like the day we got married. This is all what you guys get. So if you get this.
Hey, I feel pretty lucky then that you're just as happy as you were on your wedding day.
It looks the same. It's funny. It all kind of has different like inflections in the eyebrows, but for the most part, yeah. I can see the more twinkle in his eye because I know him well enough to say that.
yeah.
But yeah, no, like I don't know, he's always been my best friend, and I really feel like we need each other, which is really great. And it's not just me. People ask that question.
Oh, I love that. I love that you guys, your hearts were together and then they separated, but then they found each other again. they could make a movie after you guys.
Well, I think that's how Hallmark works. I'm pretty sure that's like every storyline. I swear.
Yeah,
I am
but
a
you're
pro
real
at that.
people,
Yeah.
so we know that it does happen in real life. It's not
and
just
if we
made
see
up.
in a couple years a Hallmark movie about this, you guys will know.
I think the marble table is a great place to shoot one. I don't know. It's
So
pretty,
speaking
Oh,
of,
it would be so
I know.
cute.
Yeah.
so speaking of the marble table, when did that really become an idea that you guys started to talk about?
high school.
I mean, yeah, a restaurant of some sort, not necessarily the marble table the way it is now, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So tell me more about that. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, what was your big dream in high school? You're like, I'm going to go to culinary school. I'm going to start my restaurant.
Yeah, that's about it. There wasn't a lot of details to it.
But what did you like about food? Like, you grew up in a family that had a nursery, so you're like, yeah, that's fine, that's great, love that you guys do that, but
I mean, I loved what I did at the nursery.
yeah.
It was a great creative outlet.
Mm-hmm.
Did a lot of hardscape and masonry stuff. I power lifted boulders all day. Got to build some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a little kid, I'd wake up early and watch like Julia Child and all those old school PBS
yeah.
cooking shows. And then Saturday morning cartoons came on after that. And I always was infatuated with food. And my dad is very particular in what he eats.
So it also created some creativity there.
It just,
Maybe?
I saw the food and I could imagine what it tasted like, but I never got to experience it.
Oh,
You
okay.
mean on TV?
Picky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to dance around
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
but
Sorry.
Yeah.
We could cut that out. But
No, I mean, he's very
He
aware.
knows.
Yeah. Like no onions, no garlic, black pepper's spicy.
oh,
I
okay.
get it.
My grandpa was
Meat,
also a
potatoes,
black
and
pepper
corn. That's
spicy.
what we ate.
Yeah.
So at like 10 years old, I finally started cooking for myself, and then I'd make him something plain.
Do you ever try to sneak things in?
Oh, I
Yeah.
think yes. And I think now at the marble table, it's exactly what happens. Like there's things that I know for a fact if he really knew what was in it, he wouldn't
just
be even
wouldn't eat
trying it.
Yeah.
But he's been very adventurous in the last
Ooh.
couple of years.
Yeah,
So
for
Oh, I
him.
love
for
that.
the last 4
Yeah.
years, I would say. Yeah,
Yeah.
for him. Go ahead.
Yeah, he branches out and eats the chicken strips that we make.
Ooh. Oh,
And
God,
there's
your
hot sauce
food
in
is
there, and he doesn't
so
know it.
amazing.
It's fine. Sometimes I think it's better if you don't.
Yeah.
It's like, just eat it.
Oh gosh. That's what
You
I have
don't
to do
need
with
to
my
know what it
gluten-free
is.
cooking. I just don't tell people it's gluten-free anymore, and they'll be like, "This is great," and I'll be like, "Yeah, it is." But if I told you if it's gluten-free, you'd be like, "This tastes like cardboard."
You're like, and I'm not dying, so thank you. Yeah.
So you started at 10, started cooking a little bit, and then did that just continue, expand?
Yeah, I mean, I worked for my family in high school, and then I think I was about 16, and I didn't really want to work and live with my father at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, as any
Yeah.
16-year-old boy probably feels.
Typical, yeah.
So I went and got a job in restaurants and started as a dishwasher, worked my way up
Oh,
to
dish pit.
cooking. Yeah. Yeah, dishwasher, then I was a busser, then I was a prep cook, then I was a line cook, and yada, yada, yada. Serve, all of it.
Yeah.
And he catered his, like, they would have craft shows at the Billings nursery, and he would cater.
And you would cater it?
Yeah.
As a
Yeah,
high
it was
schooler?
our food booth.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That is so cool. I just love that. Well, me, I also had the same thing. I'm going to go to culinary school. I'm going to start a restaurant. It's going to be, and then life kind of hits you and you're like, this is expensive.
Yeah.
And this is a lot harder than I anticipated. But you guys have a quite successful restaurant now. What kind of experiences led to the concept and vision for the marble table? Because like you were saying earlier, it is a different experience going into it.
Yeah. I think, well, first off, he did not want his name on the building. Like
it's
that
so
was a
perfect,
big no-no.
though.
Like we tried, there's lots of different names, and we go talk to other people and like around town, friends of ours and stuff. Like, what do you think of this? And I would say this name this way, and I'm like, what do you think of this? Say this name, and they're like, oh, the marble table, because what I wanted to show people is what we already showed our family and our neighbors.
Yeah.
We're a blended family. We're super busy. Kids are every which direction. They have multiple parents involved, right? So they're either at this parent's house this week and this parent's house this week, and they kind of go back and forth or whatever. My kids just stayed with me, but his kids went back and forth. And I felt like we were so busy, but you really have a hard time finding that time to sit down as a family, unless it's the Triple F's forced family fun, night that you have together. But you can all gather around the table.
Yeah.
And when you gather around the table, it's a different type of feeling. You remember those memories of when you were sitting with your grandparents or your aunt and uncles, or, you know, when all the cousins would come over, you're all kind of together. Even if you're at like a kid's table,
you're all together laughing in ways you don't normally laugh with other people. Yeah.
Try not to let your parents see that you're doing something you shouldn't.
There's enough people around. Sometimes you think you can get away with it. But yeah, I felt like we were probably the most carefree. There wasn't as much stress when we were all sitting around the table.
Yeah, just enjoying time.
Yeah, and there's a little like wooden box that I made that sits on our table with these beautiful dried hydrangeas. And this is at our house. We have a beautiful yard because Mr. Nursery Boy over there. So our yard is really pretty, and we have really beautiful flowers, and we built it together, which was really great. His hand is on everything that's in there, and mine as well, like planting the whatever and planting all the flowers and whatnot. But those are from our house. And so on this box, it says the gathering place where friends become family.
Oh.
And it's been there since I think we got married, because it was the same wood that we used for, I think, right around there for like our boxes.
Correct.
Yeah. So, and it's hand painted on there because that's what I like to do. And I had like a
I know you had
business.
an art business.
Yeah. And so like that closed when COVID happened because no one wanted to sit next to each other. So yeah, I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Okay, fine. But I really felt like if all of our kids are getting older, I want them to always know that they're always able to come back to the table.
Yeah.
You know, no matter how busy we are. So we were like, okay, he actually came to me one day. I was like, I want to buy a restaurant. And I was like, no, we're not buying a restaurant. Like
during COVID.
Yeah.
Because that's one of my things I have down here is the crazy times of COVID is when you actually launch the marble table.
Yeah. You know, Black Friday 2020. Doesn't everyone do that? No.
Yeah.
I mean, we were told, I don't know how many times, like, no, you guys are going to really fail. And by close friends, you know, that we respected and we really wanted their opinion. Like, yeah, this is not the time to do this. And, you know, obviously it wasn't a good time for the person that we bought the restaurant from. And that was not a good time for their family, but what a blessing for our family to be able to come into something like that. So I guess the concept of the marble table is exactly that. It's a gathering place where friends become family. And that's a quote that's been out there forever. You know, it's all over Pinterest. But I really felt like that was what our family is, I guess. We want people, you know, to feel like they are a part of something, you know, and I don't know how else to explain that. Can you explain anything else on that?
I think you hit it there.
Yeah. So like we want people when they come into the marble table to sit down and they're at our table and this is our home.
I know.
So the colors in there are colors of our home. The things in there are some of the things that we have at our house. You know, having the doors in there with the windows. We want it to still be open and airy, but we need it to be quieter. You know, it's a tiny, tiny space. We have 8 tables on one side and a little bit more on the other than 8, you know. And I think having those doors there, you know, they fold and not fold, but they move into each other so you can fit more people. So you can sit down with your family at one table. We can fit, 22?
Yeah, 22, 25.
Yeah, somewhere around there. You know, you have big farm style table. All of our tables were built locally here.
Cool.
And finished locally here.
So so you had the idea, you're like, I want to open a restaurant, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a tiny smirk and sparkle in the eye. And then tell us how that, from your perspective, what was going on in your head when you were thinking all of that before you brought it to Jen? And then how did you get her to come on board with you?
It's sort of an interesting story.
We love interesting.
We're here for it. That's why.
So at the time I was working at Enzo's.
As our executive chef there. Well, co-chef, I think.
Yeah, I was co-chefing. And Tyler, the owner, is also in commercial real estate. And he was the listing agent for this restaurant. And I ended up going to just look at it kind of on a whim. Didn't even tell her I was doing it.
At least you didn't sign anything.
I think I was in Minnesota, if I have to be
No, you were
honest.
here.
Was I here?
You were here, yeah.
Okay. This was right before I went to Minnesota?
We all went to Minnesota.
Yes.
But
Yeah. Okay, yes. Yeah.
So I just went, I was kind of kicking tires, seeing what it was about. I loved the restaurant. Then I went to work that night, came home. I think she was already in bed, kind of woke up when I got home, and I was like, yeah, I went and looked at the restaurant today. And she was like, what?
Big life
being woken
chances.
up to being like, I just did that today. And you're like, oh, Okay, so we're
Like,
I'm intrigued.
I just, kind of told her about it, and, the place had good bones, and, there wasn't a ton that needed to be done to it,
Which is very rare in kitchens.
Yeah. And then we ended up going on vacation, had all 4 kids in the back of the car driving 16 hours or whatever it is, northern Minnesota.
See my family.
And just kind of talking about it along the way. And she was, I would say, slowly warming up to the idea.
I was a big no, for a long time.
Then on the
Still
way
kinda in the
back,
pipe
well,
dream
no,
status.
maybe.
Yeah. Actually, he came back before we did. He had to go back to work. And so we drove down to Minneapolis. My family's from Hibbing, Minnesota. It's a very tiny town, about 100 miles from the Canadian border.
Oh,
and
wow.
so we drove all the way down to the city so he could fly out and come back here. And those little tiny notepads that they have in the hotels that have Hyatt across it or whatever. He's like, I really think we can buy this restaurant. And I just literally looked at him like, yeah, no. I mean, we can't even afford food sometimes. Like, there's 6 of us in our family. Like, I know what you're making, your yearly wage. I, at the time, wasn't working. Our youngest is autistic. He's high functioning autistic. So he takes a little bit more extra care. And so I wasn't even working at that time. And I was like, oh, we can't do this. And I start to panic because I'm the numbers person instantly. Like, okay, no, this isn't going to work. That's not going to work. This isn't going to work. And he's like, just calm down. I'm like, okay, what? This isn't going to work. And on that little piece of paper, and we still have it. It isn't currently framed, but it is going to be framed and it's going to be put in our office. But on this piece of paper, he gave me the numbers and I ran the numbers because I've ran other people's businesses.
Yeah.
And I have a background in accounting and bookkeeping and all these things. So it's like, I know what to do. And I instantly was like, oh, I think I did this wrong. And he was like, why? And I'm like, because it looks like we can do this. And he was like, see, told you. He's all positive about it. And I'm still like, I think this is wrong. And so, but it's on this beautiful piece of paper and it's like turned in every single direction. It flipped over and it's upside down and backwards and all over.
She's the only one that can understand what it says.
Yes.
Some of it is in hieroglyphic.
Yeah, it's like my shorthand for like, okay, and this number is this number and that one's this one and all these things. And so I was like, well, this looks like we can do it. And he's like, I told you. He's like, let's go make an offer. I'm like, we got to go to the accountant first. Like, I think I'm wrong. Like, I didn't trust my
it just
ability.
seemed too good to be true.
Absolutely. And like I said, I've ran other people's businesses, but this is like emotional for me. I'm attached to this one.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I don't want to get it wrong and I don't want to start off in the wrong foot because, it's COVID. Everyone's shutting down and we were like, we're going to open a restaurant. And everyone's like, people are crazy. But we went and spoke. We found an accountant, went and spoke with him. And he actually put together our P&L. He's had to do that for other places. And I'd never had a P&L in a restaurant. I've seen it other places, and, offices or whatever. And he put all these things together and we had a 3-year projected P&L. Walking into the first time ever meeting the accountant, he's like, well, never had this before. We're like, yeah, this is what we think we're going to do. And he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, do these numbers work? And I'm like, I know they don't. In the back of my mind, I'm like, I did something wrong. He's like, this is perfect. I'm like, what? Really? So that's kind of really how it started. And we reached out to Big Sky, EDA. Is that how you say it? Big Sky EDA or Big Sky?
B-Side, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You kind of dropped the A.
Okay, the A is gone. Okay, that's why I don't want to get that wrong.
No, you're good.
So,
yeah, Big Sky Economic Development.
Okay,
It's
there we
good.
go.
Yeah.
Okay. But we reached out to them and met with everybody. I don't know. There was a large group of people, and you were someone we met with another group of people. I don't think we ever met one-on-one, but
No, I don't. Well, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But just with groups of people working with you guys.
Yeah. And so if it wasn't for Big Sky ED, I would say that we wouldn't be here. And if it wasn't for the SBA, we definitely wouldn't be there. They have a lot of great programs to help people that really want to change their community and do things in their community, I feel.
So from the trip to Minnesota to putting down just really doing that, what was that timeline like?
It was quick. Yeah, it was pretty
I think
quick.
we went to Minnesota in
It was right before
June,
school.
maybe?
Oh, I thought it was right before school started, no?
No.
Okay, so June.
So did you think this would, when you're like, oh, I went and looked at it, is this kind of what you were envisioning happening? Or were you just like, I looked at it, I think we could do it?
No, I kind of looked at it out of boredom.
Okay.
I would get up, get the kids off to school, and then I was technically supposed to be at work at 3, but I'd usually show up at about 1 because why not? So I just had some downtime and went and looked at it, and just kind of went from there.
You're like, I could see myself in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the size of it. It was small.
Yeah.
It was something we could be active in working it, have relatively low overhead staff wise. Yeah. Really control the quality all the way through from front of the house, back of the house, all of it.
So when did you guys decide, so you ran the numbers, you met with the accountant. When did you decide you'd kind of come on too? Because obviously you're the one doing the menu, I assume.
She was on board, I would say, after that night in the hotel room.
Yeah. I probably was pushing it a little faster than he's slow and steady wins the race. I feel the same way, but I'm like, if somebody needs something done, they just come to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just go get it done. So I feel like it would have been right at that moment in the hotel. I think there was a lot of crying going on from me because it was like, this could really change our life.
Mm-hmm.
Like this
Yeah.
could change our family's life. This could change like a legacy. You know what I mean? Because his family had the legacy of the nursery. That
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily what he wanted to have for his legacy, for his kids.
Yeah.
So what if this was? So to have that kind of shift, I think
Yeah.
it was emotional for me. I'm the emotional one. I know, surprise over there. But yeah, so I think that's probably when, like right there. And then just getting I didn't know what everything got into place to open up a restaurant. Like there's a lot of people involved. There's not
Mhm.
only banks involved.
Yeah.
You have to have, your health department's involved. This is involved. The city kind of had to be involved. They had to make sure that this is
Mhm.
okay. Fire marshals, like there's so many little things that I didn't know about. He knew, but I didn't know. And so it was just up to me to kind of get those things moving along. We actually kind of did the menu together, which was neat.
Tell us
I think
about
that very
that.
first menu,
Yeah. Tell us about that.
a lot of the stuff was stuff from our house. Like, so when we talk about like the table, we would have that with our neighbors as well. So like our friends, our family,
Yeah.
they would come over. We did outdoor movies in our backyard. We have like
fun.
a little pull down
Fun.
screen, and we
Yeah.
just
Like projector screen.
yeah,
Yeah,
we have a
yeah.
projector screen, and that's what we would do because we couldn't afford to go to the movie theater. It was 4 kids. You're looking
Yeah.
at over $130 just to 6 people go.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go on $5 movie Tuesday.
Right? If Cine
But then
7
you're
was
buying
still
like a
open.
$10 water, and I'm
Right.
like, I smuggle water into the AMC, not to the Babcock and local. I buy the local things, but the bigger one, I'm like, no.
Well, I mean, Cine 7 was great back in the day when we were in school. I think it was like $2 to go. Perfect.
$1.
$1. See, but like it's so expensive. So that was something that we did so we could do that as a family. And then he would cook, and there was nights that he would just cook for like a girls' night. Like my friends would come over and he would cook us all dinner, and it was so beautiful because the friends that came over didn't have a boyfriend or didn't have a husband, and it's like they could kind of see like kind of how that would feel.
Yeah.
And he just took care of us, and it that table thing was always the main thing I felt that was amazing in what we did.
Mm-hmm. So when you guys sat down to make the menu, like were there things that you're like, we should bring this in because it
This
means
has
this?
to be on there. Yeah.
I love your fries. I really loved that part.
No,
anyways,
there wasn't anything that was a must-have.
Yeah.
I would say we / I maybe a little more chose the food concept, elegant comfort food,
Mm-hmm.
and literally gives me the biggest palette to
Yeah.
play with.
Yeah.
Because every person, every cuisine culture has a different idea of comfort food. So I literally get to cook whatever I want. So we just sort of started making a menu.
A lot of the stuff were from our house, though. Like
Yeah, a
we've
few of the
eaten them at
dishes
our-
came
at
from the
our
house.
own table.
Things that
It's a good test market.
If 4 kids eat it, that's half
Yeah.
your battle right there. Like,
Do they help work?
I was going to say they're
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
honest.
I love that. Yeah.
Kids are.
ours have a different palate than most children.
I mean, they
Thanks
probably
to
have
the
a
chef over
bougier
there.
palette.
Well, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Madeline was
a little bit.
5 years old, and she's like, "Daddy, can we go to calamari? Go have some calamari for my birthday?" And I looked at her and I was like, "No, it's like $65. No, you're 5 years old. 6, maybe she was 6, but
No, that was her 5th birthday.
see, yeah.
And
yeah.
you made her a bet bomb calamari.
Oh, no.
We went to Siam Thai.
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's
was beautiful.
delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, their calamari is great.
So
I
you
have to
made
go
the
try
menu.
that
Like,
one.
what was that? So you're getting permits, you're getting approvals from all those things. And then what is that, just for anyone listening that's like, oh, maybe I want to create a restaurant or a bakery or something. Like, what are those other things that you guys did to really get up and going? Adding the caveat that it was COVID also.
A lot of cleaning. I mean, everybody's standards are different. Ours are very high.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's a lot of cleaning involved. There's a lot of getting things in order, making sure you have the right equipment for what you want to have on the line. He went through, and our kitchen's extremely tiny, especially now that we expanded, because there was only 9 tables.
Yeah.
That's all that we had when we first opened. And we took that 9th table and it ended up being, I think, my office.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because there's no office.
Yeah.
And so I usually just took over that table during the day. There's just a lot of planning. There's a lot of menu planning. You have to make sure that everything in the kitchen, how it's set up, it's efficient. So you can make sure to push through that food so it's not taking 30 minutes, to get one hamburger. All those things. There's a whole bunch of efficiencies that I didn't know about that he was well aware.
Yeah, I mean, you can come up with a great recipe and an amazing dish, but if it doesn't flow right in the kitchen, it's not worth doing.
Well, and I think something I've experienced anytime I've eaten in too, which I'd love to hear your guys' take on like what you do to get it this way. Your staff's impeccable.
Oh, yeah.
The customer service is so great and they are so sweet and nice. And I think they just read the guests really well too. As like far as like timely, like how many times they come back. So how do you train them for that?
We kind of set a tone, I would say, from us. Like we don't ask them to do anything we wouldn't do. We try to be good role models that way. We're human and we all make mistakes, including them.
Yeah. They're all passionate about what they do and, they believe in our concept. They stand behind the food and they all like what they do. And we tried to develop a culture where people want to be there. They like the people they work with. They have fun while they're doing it. That shows to the guest. Nobody dreads to be there.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, I think, especially, well, in any industry, honestly, to cultivate a culture like that. And I think being the examples, you guys are there every day, like you are setting the tone, but to have that culture of people where they are excited to come in and excited to get to serve the guests that come in through the door throughout the day.
We want them to put their heart out there.
Yeah.
Our staff. I think that's the biggest thing is we want them to definitely, like you said, read the table.
I feel like they do a fabulous job of that.
They're amazing.
Because I've been with different types of groups
lucky.
And I'm like, oh, these guys are so good.
Yeah. No, and they really love people. Like that's the people that we want to have there. And we feel super, super blessed to have the people that we have. And we have a lot of staff that's been there from the beginning, which is amazing and kind of unheard of at the same time.
I was just about to say it's pretty rare in the food industry.
Yeah, but they have such a beautiful passion. And honestly, like they love on each customer that comes in. And you can tell, and we want that. So I'm glad that you could tell when you came in to eat. We want the customers to feel that way. We truly want them to feel like you are sitting down at home. You are our family. That's just what we want. It's a different concept, and through COVID, that's a hard one, right? But I think at that time, opening it, I think we took the keys over on the 5th of October.
2020.
Correct.
Yeah, 2020. And then we had a couple days of soft opening. But Black Friday
I remember.
was...
We went to your soft.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so
I remember we were at the corner table at the front.
Yeah. Yep, up out of the window. Yes. We, opened Black Friday. But I feel like during that time, it was so scary. The way that the world made you feel about you're dying. You're just going to die. It's just a matter of time.
It was a very weird time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our kids came home from school and like, we're going to die. I'm like, I think we're okay. We could go tomorrow. We could go right now.
Yeah.
It's whenever we're called to go home, that's when you go. You sometimes don't get the choice and it's super sad. You wish that you could just, fix all of that, and people were dying and people didn't know how to react to it. And it was very scary. So to put together a restaurant where people felt like they were a part of something and that there was some hope.
Yeah.
That's what we really wanted to do because this was not something that we ever thought that we would be able to do. We feel super lucky and really blessed to be able to share what we do with all of Billings.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And people coming in and out from other places. And, the recognitions that we've gotten, the
James Beard nomination.
Yeah, like that's huge because it wasn't him and it wasn't me. It was our restaurant. It's everybody.
It's what you've built together.
The people. Yeah. It's our home.
I love that. So family is a big part of your business. How do you, how has involving your family helped the success of your business? So are the kids there helping you guys out?
All 3 of our children that are old enough to work have either currently work there or have worked there. Our oldest son no longer works there, but he did for 3 years.
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh,
and then the girls work there currently.
That's fun to
And
have. I
Logan
mean, like
can't
that
wait.
they're learning too.
Yeah.
I think is really cool. Like you're getting to see your parents and it's a family business. When did you guys decide to open up that into the other side? And like, what was that process like? Because I remember the restaurant before you guys and I'm like, it was just that front. To be honest, I couldn't tell you what was in the second half of that space.
Well, it was a law firm.
Yeah.
Did you want me to tell that story or you want to tell that one?
Go for it.
We have some stories. So
I love it.
When
Mine are more colorful.
You can add in if you feel like it.
Absolutely.
We'll need a separate podcast for dishwasher stories.
Dishwasher stories.
Different things happen in the dish pit, and it is interesting.
There's kitchen stories, like front of the house, back of the house stories.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. There was a law firm next door. I think it was Penny Strong, and she was there 16 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And so I've never been in trouble. I have worked for an attorney before as a legal secretary. I've worked in doctor's offices. I was a medical assistant for like 8 years. Like I've worked in high stress areas. She's a great lawyer. She would scare the bejesus out of me if I had to be in front of her. But she was always getting so upset that she couldn't come and get a meal.
Because
we're fully booked.
Solely booked. Yeah. Even lunch. I mean, that is a
Yeah, you
feat
guys have to make reservations. If you're listening and want to
lunch.
eat, just make reservations.
Yeah, and we're not reservation only. We have walk-in tables, but just know that someone else is walking in before you. That's why we don't have the table. So if you're, can come down, like 10 minutes I'm headed down there, call. We'll try to get you in, no problem. Or we'll tell you the time that we can get you in.
Yeah.
And then we'll send you over to Carter's, have some drinks, and you can come back over to us, or whatever. But so she scared me because she was like, you guys need to take over this space. I'm retiring and you need to expand. And I was like, absolutely not. Have a good day. And I walked away. My husband, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm all hot. And like, no way.
That was stressful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And she's very intimidating. She's super sweet though. Like she's really, really kind. I just know that she was frustrated at the time and no, thank you. She scares me a little, but he just sat there and talked to her the whole time. And it was pretty funny. He was like, yeah, maybe we should do that. And I looked at him like, what? Probably the same reaction he had when he said, let's buy a restaurant. Which I was like, no.
Because you're fairly new in opening when this.
4 months?
4 or 5 months in.
Yeah.
And was there a door connecting it, or really was it just a wall and you broke down the wall?
Yep.
Yeah. So I actually reached out to Western Heritage Center to see if there was a doorway because they weren't going to. It's a historic building.
Yeah.
And so you have to keep things to the true historic inside and out as best that you can.
Mm-hmm.
So I had somebody look into it at Western Heritage Center and they were like, yeah, it used to be an old tack shop back in like 1914 or something like that. And one side was manufacturing and they had one little tiny doorway to go into like where they sold the stuff. That's literally probably the only reason that we ought to be able to probably put that door in there. But we reused everything in that space that Penny had in there. The double doors were from her office that she had.
Cool.
The walls,
Awesome.
those were actually from her space.
Yeah, she had a short wall that formed her office. And like she said, the doors from that wall are the doors that go between the two dining rooms. We scooted the wall over and that made a little back room for us before the office.
There was an office, let me just
all
tell
the light
you. That
fixtures
was
are
amazing.
there.
Yeah, light fixtures we just painted.
Yep.
So there are older light fixtures that you'll see around town and stuff. There's a couple other buildings
Cool.
that have those. Ours is just different color because we painted them. But it was really scary. And then he had to figure out how to make the kitchen work efficiently with more than doubling the space. Yeah. And so that being the little tiny kitchen that it is, I don't think the line's any longer than this table, is it?
It's a little longer than
Is
that
it?
by
Okay.
much,
Not
yeah.
by much. Okay. But it's so tiny. So like figuring out menu, figuring out.
How
so
do
really
you
like-
build in efficiencies in it? Like when you're in a small kitchen like that, like how do you do that?
You try to keep your number of steps and how much you're turning around in circles, and you try to keep that to a minimum. And say everything for the saute guy is right by saute. Everything for the grill guy is right by the grill guy. You don't really think about it taking 2 steps one way, 2 steps another. But if you do that for every item, every ticket, that's thousands of steps in a night, and that's a lot of time. So you try to work those out within everything being within arm's reach for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the flow, how it goes from each station in the kitchen to being plated to the window, in the most efficient manner. And there's definitely ways it could improve, but not in that space.
Yeah, because it's a smaller space. Yeah.
But that was appealing to us, though.
Yeah.
Because it was
Right.
COVID.
Yep.
We're just hoping 6 people showed up, you know. Like,
And now here you have reservations that have to be made or calls ahead. So what's on the horizon? You guys are working on some other cool stuff. What, like, how did that all come about?
Well, we're opening a coffee shop and a roastery. Sort of came on. We were looking at buying a restaurant in Big Fork.
Mm-hmm.
We were
I
gonna
heard
do,
the whispers.
Yeah. We were going to do coffee and the restaurant in the same place up there. That ended up not working out. And the spot for our coffee shop now kind of fell in our laps almost the day we declined Big Fork.
And we didn't tell anybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that
Nobody
that
knew
was
we were
super
doing
cool.
coffee other than...
Big Fork people.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple.
There was like maybe 2 people up there that knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it just sort of fell in our laps. And we said, yeah, let's do it.
So we're opening some point here.
So tell us, like, what guests will experience when it opens. Like, what are you guys focused on with that? Because, and like the name, it's an extension kind of with the
It is.
name.
I would say it is. So
Yeah.
the Marble Table is us. That's our last name.
Yep.
We want you to feel like your family and that you're sitting down at our table. So we have Marble Coffee Company or Marble Coffee Co.
Mhm.
for short. We want people to still feel that same way. You know, instead of you're sitting down at our dining room table, you're now in our kitchen at our counter. We just want people
Having
to feel
coffee.
Exactly. But we want people to feel at home. I feel like that is something that we feel that we do well and that we really like to have people feel that you're a part of something. And so it will be a family, I guess, coffee shop as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We want it to feel like home. I think a lot of times in coffee, you either have sort of a sterile atmosphere or super eclectic.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more like home. And we want to focus on good coffee.
Yeah.
What got you into because you're not only are you doing your coffee shop, but you're going to be doing coffee roasting as well.
Well, I
Yes.
think,
What got you into that?
yeah, I think
That's
the
the
roasting.
only way to control that quality.
Quality, yeah. So it's a
and
quality
have
control measure for you. Good coffee.
Coffee.
I-
Good.
Good. Okay, I need to we need to share a cup of coffee
I'm
together.
ready.
Yeah.
So tell us about the menu for the rest. So, like, we'll have coffee. I'm thrilled beyond. I can't tell you how thrilled I am for this endeavor of yours.
I think
I can't really
And
talk
it's
on the
in
menu
walking
yet because
decision.
I haven't come up with it.
Well, okay.
I'll
But
say
the people will have like other like food items
Yeah.
that they can grab.
yeah, we'll have
Great coffee.
typical coffee shop food, but not typical.
Yeah,
Marble
I love
Table
it.
way or the Marble way. I don't know how to explain that.
The, like,
yeah.
The
home
marble way.
Yeah.
I love
The
it.
home way. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, like
yeah.
at the restaurant, it's like grandma went to culinary school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It'll be the same type of thing. Still familiar and approachable in what it is, but maybe just a little different
Yeah.
I love
and
that.
hopefully different in quality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be out in left field.
Are you guys big coffee? You must be coffee people.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I was like, yeah, tea people, coffee people.
Mhm.
I'm a both.
I'm
I
a-
enjoy both.
I'm a coffee.
If you have caffeine, yes.
Yes. I just really like caffeine. So now that you are jumping into basically 2 new businesses, how do you anticipate juggling all the businesses?
We have help from our staff. They're kind of amazing. We can't do the things we do in the kitchen if it wasn't for the guys cooking the food in the kitchen.
Oh, I
They're
love
fantastic. And it's like, when I say guys, that's girls and boys, by the way. I just rope everybody into the guys.
I do
It's
that.
Like,
Yeah.
hey guys,
Mhm.
what'd you say?
It's generic.
It is, yeah. So
Generic guys.
we don't just have guys. I know someone
They-
actually asked me
Guys
that.
and
Yeah,
gals.
yeah.
Yeah.
We-
The team.
The team, yes. But we really can't do it without them. We have a lot of really great ideas, but my husband is one that can execute them. But if it wasn't for the other staff helping us, we can't keep doing these different things because it takes everybody where we are. It takes all of our staff, our dishwashers, our hosts. They're very important to us.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So the coffee shop's under the same umbrella that the restaurant is. So we can share management staff, share other staff.
Mm-hmm.
So we have sort of a cohesiveness all the way around. Management at the restaurant will be management at the coffee shop,
Yeah.
vice versa.
And I think
I
what's really
love that.
nice is, I mean, selfishly, I love what you guys are doing for the Billings community. And really, I think Billings has an elevated and exciting culinary scene. And I think it's because of people like you guys taking that and saying, hey, we are going to do it. It's COVID, but we believe in ourselves, and maybe not everyone else does, but once they see what we see, they're going to love it. And I think the coffee shop as an extension of that is just really exciting. That management structure sounds great. Just so you're not so far away yet. So we're glad you're doing a test market in Billings so that you can really like figure out how that's working for you before you maybe jump
This
to
is
the
home.
next market.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like it's just home for us,
Yeah. Yeah, like the proximity for us. The coffee shop's a block and a half.
Half a block?
Which is super
I mean,
close
depending
for
on
you.
how
Yeah.
large walk through the hotel completely.
Yeah.
Or, I mean,
yeah, so it's like a block away.
in the corner. And,
Our prep kitchen that does all our production will be for the coffee shop and the restaurant. That's half a block away the other direction.
Yeah.
The roaster is 5-minute drive. So it's all real close by. We can be kind of everywhere at once that way.
Mm-hmm.
Something needs to happen somewhere, we can quickly get there and make it happen.
I think it's about 11 minutes from our house.
Which is
The
nice.
restaurant.
Yeah.
Which is
nice.
really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's
Yeah.
Billings.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Exactly. Short little
15
commutes
minutes, you can get anywhere.
yeah.
I love that model that you're sharing employees, and it's not like you just work at the coffee shop or you just work at the restaurant. And maybe
If they want to.
if
Yeah,
Yeah,
if they have the
maybe
skills.
If they have the
and
skills
wanna
or they
do it.
want to. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not going to, I wouldn't, I haven't made coffee. I worked at 17th Street Station. Do you know that place was on the corner of 17th and Pauley? It is now torn down, and it's where Edwards.
Oh, yeah, that other, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was a coffee shop. I worked there. Like, okay, that was the last time I made coffee. Like, we're gonna have to have some definite skill.
some people-
Baristas that,
because that is probably not me, but I'll sure do my best.
I think there were still dinosaurs roaming at that
Oh,
point.
thank you. Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
There's
that's,
that joke.
tiny week thing.
Remember that 6 weeks thing? That
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you guys, we've so enjoyed having you on our podcast and hearing your story. We love that you're in our community. We like to end each of our episodes with a set of rapid fire questions. So we'll just take a moment quickly to hear a message from a sponsor and jump back in for our rapid fire questions.
Thank you to the Small Business Development Center for sponsoring The Vault at 201 North Broadway. The Small Business Development Center offers free personalized support from business plans to financial projections and beyond, empowering small businesses to thrive. Reach out to us at bigsky.economicdevelopment.org. Welcome back. My first question to you both is favorite thing to eat. And I know that's so tough. So if you need me to narrow it down or you need
We
to give
talking
multiple
cuisine or
answers.
dish?
Dish is harder. I would say cuisine. Cuisine would be a lot
okay,
easier.
I was like, I'm curious.
Probably Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah, if I was a Care Bear, I'd have a taco on my chest.
Okay. I can get with that. Mine would probably be a plate of spaghetti, but
Yeah,
Mexican's up there though.
Thai food comes in at a close second.
I do like some good Thai food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like ice cream. So you could just, I like,
What kind of
I like
flavor?
desserts.
What's your
I
favorite
like,
ice cream?
Probably the dulce de leche, however you say that, for
yeah.
Haagen-Dazs, if my husband's not going to make ice cream, because I actually really, really, really like his ice cream. Anything that he made.
Okay.
And we used to have ice cream until we broke, I don't even know, 6 ice cream machines at the restaurant. We're like, that's
Holy
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Were they industrial?
Some,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
One was ish, wasn't it? The one that finally broke at the end. We're like, that's
No.
enough. Okay, yeah,
No.
okay.
I was
But-
going to be like,
I love desserts, so
I'm a dessert person.
I am dessert first. I want to look at the menu. I want to see what I'm gonna eat right now, and then the rest of whatever I can reheat at home.
Yeah.
yes.
But it can be breakfast the next day for your dessert. You can take it home with you.
Mhm.
So at the restaurant, I do always push it. It's really good though, and they're all made by him.
Yeah.
Well, our staff, but the recipes are his. So
yeah.
I feel like I get a little piece of his cooking, even though our
It's-
staff's making it.
Yeah. Delicious.
So on that, I'm adding a question in because I'm curious. So let's say someone's listening, they maybe are coming into town, they haven't been to the marble table yet, but they have their reservations. What should they get? Like, what are your, like, you have to get it when you're there?
That's a hard one because it's comfort food. So whatever somebody's favorite type of comfort food is, they should get that. If they don't like tomatoes, please don't order the heirloom tomato salad if you don't like tomatoes. I love that dish.
Oh, yeah.
Right. That, and
So
I don't even
dreamy.
really like the texture of tomatoes. I love that dish, but go ahead, chef. What you think?
Yeah, I was going to say whatever you're in the mood for.
Yeah.
It's a very diverse menu.
Mhm.
So
It is yummy. Your
I mean,
Caesar
but it's all
salad
delicious.
is like fabulous.
Oh, so good.
I mean, I eat at the restaurant every day almost.
You got to get your comp meal, right?
And I don't eat the same thing every day. There's lots of favorites.
I get a different thing every single time
I try
because I
to
just
too,
love
yeah.
trying it all.
Yeah,
It's
and
so
I
good.
don't think I could even tell you our best selling dish
Because
because
it just
they
is
all ebb
different.
and flow.
Yeah.
Depends on the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'd say if it's halibut season though, for us, like that March to November spot, I think that would probably pretty special.
Yeah,
I would say our halibut because it's caught in Alaska one day and then flown to us the next day. So it's on
Oh,
ice
wow.
and we get a whole without a head actually. So a whole halibut in and cut
Those
it up.
things are monsters.
that sounds divine.
yeah. We try to get 60 to 80 pound head off and gutted.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
they're
It's huge.
they're a
Head
big
off
fish.
and
I know. Welcome to
That's-
Chef Talk.
Yeah.
I like it. It's funny. Oh gosh.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
So I would say probably that. But our fish special is always great and it's not always on our menu. And then a beef special. Seafood special. And then a meat, like a beef special.
Beef special.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I have to say, I had this steak special with this. It was like cognac mushroom cream sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I dream about that sauce. And I have to tell you, I don't like mushrooms. And I was like licking my plate.
Just so you know,
you
there's
do like mushrooms. You just thought you didn't before
So
that.
he says that to me. Okay, so I'm super picky. I have tons of food allergies.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, you like this? I'm like, no, I don't. I'll eat it. And I'm like, oh dang, I really like that.
I
And
do
he's like,
really
I
like
told
that.
you.
Oh, God.
But it always happens to me.
When
all
he
the
knows
time.
you a little bit better, sometimes then you're like, no, I don't. And then you're like,
Oh, he'll be like, try this. And I'm like, dang it. I do like
Right.
that. Oh, the texture is really funky, but that taste is really good.
Oh, I know. It was so good. So if you do that again, please let me know because I will be there. Just put a
Yeah,
reservation
yeah,
down for
totally.
2 and I will for sure be there.
Somebody wanted horseradish. There was like a horseradish sauce over one of our steaks. And they're like, that, I can't eat steak
I
now
love
until that
Or
horseradish.
the other, it's like, I forget what it is, like kind of barbecue-y on the rice. I think you have the jalapeno something on it. It's like the fried chicken. The one that was before the jalapeno one, and maybe I'm even more behind, but it was
Okay.
like a Korean beef barbecue or
yeah.
something. Oh my God.
We're just
Oh
over here
my
like,
God.
ugh,
So
drooling.
good. Okay, we can move on to the next one. So I'm like starving.
Okay. One thing I want to touch on in my rapid fire question, which it might be a little bit loaded, is it is hard to have partnerships within businesses, let alone being married as well. How do you guys handle that day in and day out? Like, how do you guys handle all that?
It's really quiet all of a sudden.
Well, I mean, it starts that she's my best friend and she's my wife and my business partner. And we don't make any decisions on our own.
We do it together.
So everything
that.
is a collaborative decision. So we have those times to have discussions, and sometimes one or the two of us aren't a big fan of one of the other ideas, like the name of our restaurant.
The logo, the name on your shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're also open to the fact that, we're not the only one there, and our ideas aren't always the best. So
We're open. We're really open. It may
Yeah.
not feel like it, I guess. Maybe we should ask our staff that. But I feel like
I'd say
we
there's
hear,
a humbleness.
Yeah, and we hear what they say. And we apply it to what our business model is. If it's going to work within our business model, in the business plan that we sat down and wrote together, then it's something we could possibly do. And let's figure out a way to be able to do that. We're open to it. And I think there's a lot of people out there that you have to swallow that pride. And some do and some don't. I think that's one huge thing. If you're opening up a restaurant, swallow your pride. You know, you do have great ideas. We have stuck to our guns. We have done what we said we were going to do. We have done the best that we can, but we do take advice from outside of that. And if you have a dream and it's on your heart to do something, go do it. Find the people that can help you. Find the people that support you. You know, if that's not your family and if that's not your friends, go find new ones. Like, go figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, go find people that are going to help support you. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that I felt like we got from Big Sky, was being able to have people like kind of love on us and like, we're okay. You know, because it gets overwhelming really quickly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it still does. I mean, is this our 4th year?
We're into our 4th year. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it gets overwhelming, you know, and we want to find that balance between our family and working. But I think, you know, I would say we really do enjoy being around each other. I'd rather be at work with him, and working with him, or be where he is. And I think he feels the same way.
Yep.
We just work really well together. So I know that it's a weird thing, I think, because you hear all those stories of Restaurant Impossible.
It is. It's
Yeah.
special. Like, you guys have known each other for a really long time.
That's why I ask that question every time we have partners or married business partners, because I think that is something that people struggle with all the time is, you know, how do we actively handle conflicts without destroying our relationship? And it is maybe open communication, just being upfront, and then maybe owning my idea might not actually be the best idea.
Yeah.
And we need to try this out.
Having compromise, kind of the same way you'd have like working with a work partner or like a desk mate, you know, where you share an office with somebody. It's kind of the same thing, because like there's a reason why we have 2 separate types of brains. I mean, there's a reason for that. And we need to compromise on some of those things where like I would say like absolutely not. And he's like, but what about this? And I'm like, oh, okay. I will give on a little side of this, but no, I really mean no on this side. You know, not that I give in or not that he gives in, but it's that compromise. And I think that really helps in any relationship. If that helps with your kids or that helps with, you know, siblings, compromise is a really big thing, to try to find an answer that would make both of you satisfied, if that makes any sense.
I love that.
Well, and keeping the end goal in mind.
Yeah.
And that for us is customer satisfaction, keeping butts in the seats.
Good quality food, great service,
good atmosphere.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if it falls, you know, where it's going to better those, why not try it, even if it wasn't your own idea?
Well,
you know, he has tons of input from his staff in the kitchen. You know, it isn't just his food. Like, he comes up with recipes because, he's the chef and this is our restaurant and we do want it to match what we do, right? You know, it's those things, but like,
yeah, but they're all talented. So like that sauce you were talking about, I don't know that we'll ever recreate that because it wasn't anything off of a recipe.
Oh, it's just
so those specials you got to get them because they won't. They're not.
I mean,
ever be.
We could do a really good job. It won't be identical, but special wise, I get my guys the proteins. You know, I'll get you whatever steak.
Empower them. Yeah,
I'll get you whatever fish we're doing, and if they're new, you know, they bounce ideas off me and make sure that falls within our business model and our vision. But once they've been there for a while, they just kind of have free reign to make something.
That's awesome.
They'll ask him for his opinion and like, hey, chef, how's this taste?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they'll throw something together. I'll come and I'll taste it. I'll give them, you know, if I want to tweak it some way or another. Or a lot of times I ask leading questions there. Like, well, what do you think it's missing? So they can get better at what they do.
You're kind of like, you're guiding them and helping them to grow in their career.
Yeah, nobody wants to work for somebody that just comes in iron fisted and says this is the way it is, like it or get out.
Yep.
Well, no, because they're there because they like being creative with food, and
Correct.
so having that ability to be creative with their food, and then empowering them, encouraging them, is awesome.
Yeah,
it's probably why you have such loyal employees.
Yeah.
So where can people connect with you, find out more, just stay in the loop with you guys?
I'm at the restaurant.
We'll let them know. Call to just talk with Jason.
Apparently I'm with the children. Yeah, no.
Website, social media.
I'm everywhere. Yeah. So I would say we're probably pretty heavy on Facebook. I'm trying to get better at Instagram. There's a lot of limitations, honestly, for businesses with Instagram right now. So I would say our websites for sure. So both of those. And then
what is your website handle?
Yeah, I believe, if I don't want to get this wrong, I think it's The Marble Table MT.
I'll look it up for you right now.
That'd be cool.
The
I just felt like I got really put on.
marbletablent.com.
Yeah, okay, good.
You got it, girl.
I got really put on the spot.
It's
there
okay.
for a
I do
second.
that with
was
the
like,
Big Sky one, and I'm like, is it all spelled out?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I just like copy and paste it all the time.
And then it should be Marble Coffee Co.
wow,
MT as well.
Mac and cheese looks
I
Awesome.
think, but it might just be Marble Coffee Co.
I think you put the MT on there.
Did I put the MT? Kayla will find out for me.
I don't know.
Oh,
Is
no,
that
she
one
can't.
live? Yeah,
'cause it's not live
yet.
Oh, I was like, nope, it's just bringing me tables.
So we
Yeah.
on social media, connecting with you guys on Instagram and Facebook and
Yeah,
the
be
website.
patient with us when you send a message. And if you tell me that you would like a table for 2 at 6:30 and it's 6 o'clock on Messenger, I'm not answering you.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny because we have these people take too long to answer you on Messenger. And of
Oh.
course, Messenger's like, you need to answer these people faster. I'm like, well, it's because we're open and we're working.
Yeah.
And so
if
we
you-
can't answer them.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Call the restaurant
or
for
reserve
reservation.
online.
They
Or
always
go
pick
online.
up. They're always quick to take a reservation.
Yeah.
So just call.
Absolutely. And we have walk-in tables. You literally can walk in and say, hey, do you have a spot for 1 or 2? Especially for singles. We have a whole 8 seats that are up against the window. I call them a dinner and a show spot. You never know what you're going to see downtown in Montana Avenue.
I've definitely taken
Mhm.
seats up there.
Yeah, and it's really comfortable. It is not like a
That's
high
where I
bar
ate my
seat.
steak.
There you go.
Honestly, those are my favorite.
I love that
spots to eat.
spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. It kind of makes you feel like you're in a whole different place, like a different
Yeah.
city.
Yeah.
You know,
love it.
But yeah, so I would say that's where you can reach out to us. You can look for us. Our coffee website obviously is not up yet, but it will be. So I bet you by the time that you'll hear this, it'll probably be up and going.
So check them out.
Well,
They're
thank you guys.
delicious.
Thank you
This has been
guys.
fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Make sure you are subscribed to The Vault at 201 North Broadway, wherever you podcast, including YouTube.
Connect with us on Facebook at The Vault at 201 North Broadway and Instagram at The Vault_201.
Don't forget to visit us at thevault at 201.com and subscribe to our newsletter.
We will see you next time.
Bye.